When a sobbing 12-year-old shows up at a biker clubhouse on a November night clutching his missing sister's phone, the glampers expect a family crisis. What they don't expect is a desperate plea that will unravel a criminal network and expose the people who were supposed to protect him. Sometimes the system meant to save children becomes the danger. And sometimes a child crying in the rain finds salvation in the last place anyone would look. If you've ever wondered what real protection looks like when the system fails, you're about to find out. But first, drop a comment right now telling us, have you ever had to ask strangers for help when no one else would listen? Your story matters. Now let's keep going. The Glampers Clubhouse sits at the dead end of Industrial Road. A converted machine shop with steel walls thick enough to muffle the roar of motorcycles and memories. Security cameras scan the gravel lot where chrome gleams under sodium lights. Most people in town know better than to approach without invitation. Inside smells like leather worn soft from years of riding, coffee that's been sitting too long on the burner, and motor oil from the repair bays where members keep their bikes running and their hands busy. The concrete floor bears stains that tell decades of stories: oil, grease, spilled beer from better nights, and the occasional splash of blood from worse ones. Rain hammers the corrugated metal roof, turning the clubhouse into a drum. It's the kind of November storm that makes you grateful for walls and warmth. 6 members occupy the common room in the comfortable silence of people who've earned the right not to fill every moment with words. Robert, club president with salt and pepper hair and a jaw like granite, reviews club finances at the battered wooden table, reading glasses perched on his nose. Tracker, road captain and former detective, sits cross-legged on the floor cleaning his motorcycle chain with the methodical precision of someone who finds meditation in maintenance. May, club treasurer and the only one who can make their ancient inventory software cooperate, mutters creative threats at her laptop screen. The police scanner on the shelf murmurs constant background noise. Dispatch codes, street names, the white noise soundtrack of a city that never fully sleeps. They've learned to filter it, only catching the frequency when something demands attention. The knock cuts through the rain's percussion. It's not the confident bang of someone who belongs, not the tentative tap of someone lost. This is something else. Frantic, urgent. The percussion of desperation beating against steel. Robert's head comes up first. Tracker's hands go still on the chain. May's fingers pause over the keyboard. For 3 seconds, no one moves. Then Tracker rises smoothly to his feet, his cop instincts activating like muscle memory 5 years out of practice. Robert crosses to the door, his boots heavy on concrete. His hand hovers near the frame, not on the handle yet, ready to slam it shut if this turns into the kind of trouble they don't need. He cracks the door 6 inches. A kid stands in the rain. 12 years old, maybe younger, soaked through a jacket too thin for November weather. Water streams from his hair, drips from his chin, pools in the torn laces of his sneakers. His face is streaked with mud and tears, both mixing with the rain until it's impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. His eyes are red-rimmed, swollen, the eyes of someone who's been crying for hours and might never stop. In his trembling hands, held out like an offering to the only gods who might still be listening, is a smartphone with a cracked screen. The backlight glows through the rain on his palms. Please. The word comes out broken, desperate, barely audible over the storm. My sister, Shannon. She's been gone 3 days. His voice cracks, and he swallows hard, forcing the words past the panic. I found her phone. There's a message. I don't know where she is. Behind Robert's shoulder, Tracker appears, reading the situation with the instinct that made him a good detective and makes him a better road captain. May closes her laptop without looking away from the door. Michael's shaking intensifies, cold, fear, exhaustion, all of it vibrating through his small frame. Police said she's just a runaway. Foster services said to wait. His face crumples. I can't wait anymore. She's 9 years old and it's 40 degrees outside at night. He looks up at Robert, and the desperation in those young eyes could break stone. Please, I don't have anyone else to ask. Robert looks back at Tracker. Something passes between them, the kind of wordless communication built from years of riding together, fighting together, surviving together. Tracker's slight nod says everything. This is real. This kid needs help. We're in. May's already standing, laptop forgotten. Robert pulls the door wider, letting yellow light spill out into the rain-dark night. His voice carries the weight of a promise being made. Get inside, kid. Michael doesn't move immediately. His feet stay planted on the wet concrete, his hand tightening around the phone. Even now, even this desperate, he's calculating whether stepping through that door will make things better or worse, whether these strangers will help or hurt. Start from the beginning, Robert says, his tone gentler but no less firm. We'll figure this out. Michael hesitates 1 second longer, his last moment of standing alone in the storm, carrying everything by himself. Then he steps forward. The door closes behind him with a heavy metallic click. The rain's roar becomes muffled. The warmth of the clubhouse wraps around him, but he's shaking too hard to feel it yet. The garage feels bigger on the inside than it looked from the street. High industrial ceilings, exposed steel beams, walls lined with tools organized with almost military precision. 3 motorcycles in various states of assembly occupy the repair bays, chrome and steel sculptures waiting to be completed. A faded American flag hangs on one wall. Patches from clubs across the country decorate another. This is a place built by people who understand loyalty. Michael stands just inside the door, water pooling at his feet, clutching the phone and a backpack with a broken zipper. His eyes dart to the windows, the back exit, the shadows in the corners, old survival instincts refusing to believe in safety even when it's offered. May brings a towel that smells like detergent and engine grease. Michael takes it with numb fingers, presses it against his face but doesn't really dry off. The water keeps dripping from his hair, pooling at his feet. Tracker pulls over a rolling stool and sets a mug of coffee on the workbench. Steam rises from the surface. Michael wraps both hands around it, but they shake too hard to lift it to his lips. Robert settles into the chair across from him, forearms resting on his knees. His voice is steady, practiced at getting information without pressure. What's your name, son? Michael. Michael Carlisle. The words come out mechanical. My sister is Shannon Carlisle. She's 9. She's been missing since Thursday night. Robert nods slowly. And the phone? Michael holds it out like evidence. The cracked screen shows Shannon's last message, 3 days old, unread until today. Tracker leans in, reads it aloud in that careful cop voice that strips emotion from tragedy. Michael, if you're reading this, I'm going to Mama's old place. Don't follow me. They're looking for me. I did something bad. I love you. The silence that follows feels heavier than the rain on the roof. Tell us about your mother, Robert says quietly. Michael's jaw tightens. She died 2 years ago, left us with nothing, no family, no backup plan. He doesn't say overdose, but the word hangs in the air anyway, understood without being spoken. We went into the system, bounced around for 18 months. Then 6 months ago, we got placed with Gerald Monroe. Michael's voice flattens, the way people's voices do when they're reciting facts they wish weren't true. Seemed okay at first, quiet house, rules, but nothing we couldn't handle. Shannon and I had our own rooms, stayed in the same school district. What changed? Tracker asks. 2 months ago. Michael stares at the phone in his hands. Late-night visitors started showing up, trucks in the driveway. Gerald's mood shifted. He got tense, paranoid, started checking the windows constantly, asking if we'd talk to anyone at school. May pulls her laptop closer, fingers already moving across the keyboard. She doesn't interrupt, just listens and searches. Shannon's bedroom is next to the garage, Michael continues. She heard things, saw things through her window. She told me men were bringing boxes, big boxes. Gerald would meet them, they'd talk in low voices. She said it scared her. Did you see anything? Robert asks. Michael shakes his head. My room's in the front, but I believed her. Shannon doesn't make things up, she doesn't exaggerate. If she said she was scared, she was scared. The phone, Tracker prompts gently. How'd you find it? Michael's grip tightens on the device. Our mom taught us a hiding spot. Behind the old house where we used to live, there's a loose brick in the back steps. Emergency stuff only. We used to hide birthday money there, notes to each other when things got bad. He looks up, eyes red and desperate. Shannon left her phone there. She wanted me to find it, but only after waiting. She planned this. She planned to disappear. His voice cracks. But she wanted me to know she didn't just abandon me. What's Mama's old place? May asks, still typing. Code word. Our mom never owned property. We lived in rentals, shelters, one crappy apartment after another. But the trailer on Riverside Road, that's where we lived before she died, where we felt safe. We called it Mama's place. Michael's hands tremble harder. Shannon's telling me where she is, but in a way Gerald wouldn't understand if he found the phone first. Now here's what the system won't tell you. When Michael tried calling for help, he was told to wait, to be patient. While his 9-year-old sister was alone in freezing weather. If that makes you angry, hit that subscribe button right now, because what these bikers do next is exactly what should have happened from the start. Let's keep going. May's expression darkens as information populates her screen. Shannon disappeared Thursday evening around 6 p.m. She didn't come home from school. And Gerald reported her missing when? Michael's jaw clenches. Saturday afternoon. I asked him Friday morning where she was. He said she went to a friend's house. He looks up, anger cutting through the fear. Shannon doesn't have friends. We've only been at that school 2 months. She doesn't trust easy. May turns her laptop so Robert can see. Michael contacted school officials Saturday morning asking about Shannon's absences. 20 minutes later, Gerald filed the missing person report. Tracker's expression goes cold. He hid her disappearance until you forced his hand. What's your foster father's full name? Tracker's voice has changed, no longer gentle, now sharp with recognition. Gerald Monroe. Tracker goes completely still. 5 seconds of absolute silence. Then, say that name again. Gerald Monroe. That's our foster father. Tracker stands, walks to the window, stares out at the rain streaking the glass. His shoulders are rigid, his hands clenched into fists. When he turns back, his face is carved from stone. I know that name. I investigated him 5 years ago. Prescription drug trafficking. Couldn't make the charges stick. Witnesses disappeared. Evidence went missing. His eyes meet Robert's. The case file noted something else. Unusual number of short-term foster placements. Kids came and went fast. Lot of runaways. The implications settle over the room like a fog. Robert's voice is quiet, dangerous. You think he's using foster kids? I think Shannon saw something she wasn't supposed to see, Tracker says. And I think Gerald couldn't risk her talking. Michael's coffee mug slips from his hands, hits the concrete, shatters. The shattered coffee mug lies in pieces on the concrete. No one moves to clean it up. May closes the distance to Michael first, kneeling beside him. Let me see the phone. Michael hands it over, fingers still trembling. May connects it to her laptop with a cable she pulls from her bag. Her screen fills with data, messages, photos, metadata. There's more here than just that one message, May says, eyes scanning lines of code and file directories. The group gathers around her laptop. Robert stands behind her chair. Tracker leans against the workbench, arms crossed, that cop focus sharpening his features. Michael hovers at May's elbow, watching every keystroke. Mama's old place, Tracker repeats, testing the words. Where exactly is that? 1847 Riverside Road, Michael says. Abandoned trailer. Condemned property. Hasn't been lived in since our mom died. His voice goes quieter, younger. It's where we were happy. Before everything fell apart. Shannon and I used to talk about it when things got bad at Gerald's, like it was our secret safe place. Tracker's expression darkens. If she's been there for 3 days in this weather. Michael's face crumples. I should have found the phone sooner. I should have checked the hiding spot right away. His words tumble out faster, panic bleeding through. I waited because I thought she'd come back on her own. I thought if I gave her time, she'd come home and we could pretend nothing happened and Gerald wouldn't. Hey! May's hand lands on his shoulder, firm but gentle. You found it. You're here. That's what matters. Robert straightens, and when he speaks, it's with the authority of someone used to being obeyed. Tracker, you coordinate with your police contacts. We need someone we trust. Tracker's already pulling out his phone. Carla Santos. Detective, she's solid. Worked with her on a missing teen case 3 years ago. She'll listen. May. Deep background on Gerald. Financial records, property records, any digital footprint. Robert's voice is clipped, efficient. If he's running drugs, there's evidence somewhere. May nods, fingers already flying across her keyboard. Diesel! Robert calls toward the back. A woman emerges from the repair bay, wiping her hands on a rag. Diesel is lean and sharp-eyed, with graying hair pulled back in a severe ponytail. You and Wrench scout the trailer location. See if there's any sign of Shannon. Assess the condition of the property. Don't engage, just eyes. On it. Diesel's already moving, grabbing keys and a jacket. Robert turns to Michael. You stay here. I know you want to come, but if this goes sideways, I need you safe. No. Michael's voice cracks. She's my sister. I can't just sit here. You already did the hardest part. Robert's tone softens just slightly. You asked for help. Now let us do what we do. Michael looks like he wants to argue, but exhaustion and desperation steal his fight. He sinks onto a nearby stool, defeated. While Tracker steps outside to make his call and Diesel and Wrench gear up, May's fingers dance across her keyboard. Michael watches her work, mesmerized by the speed, by the certainty of someone who knows exactly what they're looking for. This is interesting, May murmurs. Her eyes narrow. Both kids receive survivor benefits from their mother's death, about $800 per month each. Robert leans closer. Where's that money going? May pulls up bank records, traces transaction histories with the practiced efficiency of someone who's done this before. Into Gerald's personal accounts. Not a cent spent on the kids. She pulls up a spreadsheet, runs quick calculations. 2 years of benefits. That's almost $40,000 he's pocketed. Financial abuse on top of whatever else he's doing. Robert's voice is granite hard. May keeps digging, her expression growing darker. Wait. There's more. She pulls up property records, cross-references names and addresses. Gerald owns a storage facility on the east side, industrial area. That's not on his disclosed assets for fostering. A storage facility. Tracker returns from his call, catching the tail end. Perfect place to move product without scrutiny. In the corner, Michael sits with his backpack still clutched in his lap, gripping the straps like they're the only solid thing left in the world. May notices, pushes her laptop aside, and crosses to him. What's in the bag, Michael? Long silence. Michael stares at the floor, then quietly. Clothes. For both of us. Some food. Money I've been stealing from Gerald's wallet. $43. May's expression shifts. Not pity, something closer to understanding. How long have you been packing?
3 weeks.
His voice is barely a whisper.
I was going to grab Shannon and run. I had it planned. Routes mapped out. Places we could sleep where cops wouldn't look.
He looks up, eyes hollow.
But she ran first.
May sits beside him on the concrete floor, shoulder to shoulder.
You've been trying to protect her all alone. Someone had to.
The words are bitter.
The system put us with him. The system doesn't care if we live or die as long as the paperwork's filed. We care.
May's voice is steady, certain.
And we're going to find her.
Michael looks at her, really looks, searching for the lie, the expiration date on this kindness. He doesn't find one. Outside, engines roar to life. Diesel and Wrench's bikes rumble out of the lot, headlights cutting through rain and darkness. The search has begun. 14 hours since Michael knocked on the clubhouse door. 76 hours since Shannon disappeared. The convoy rolls through the November night like a funeral procession. 3 Glanper's bikes, Detective Santos' unmarked sedan, an ambulance running silent with paramedics on standby. The rain has stopped, but everything glistens wet under streetlights. The temperature hovers at 38 degrees. Michael sits in May's truck, hands pressed flat against the window, barely breathing. His eyes haven't blinked in minutes. 1847. Riverside Road appears through the darkness like a corpse. The trailer is worse than Michael remembered. Windows shattered into jagged teeth, door hanging off hinges, roof sagging in the middle where it's partially collapsed. Weeds grow through the rotted deck. Yellow caution tape flutters from a rusted post. She's been in there for 3 days? Tracker's voice is flat with controlled horror. Detective Santos steps out of her car, surveys the scene with professional assessment. If she's still alive, she won't be conscious. Hypothermia would have set in by now. Michael makes a sound like he's been punched. Tracker approaches the trailer first, flashlight beam cutting through darkness. The door screeches when he pushes it open. The smell hits him immediately. Mold, decay, something else underneath. He steps inside, boots crunching on broken glass and debris. The interior is devastated. Water damage blooms across walls in toxic flowers. The floor is Swiss cheese with holes. What furniture remains is rotted beyond recognition. He moves deeper, flashlight sweeping corners. Shannon? Shannon Carlisle? The back bedroom is smaller, less exposed. Tracker's light catches movement, something shifting under a pile of moth-eaten blankets near the far wall. He crosses the room in 3 steps, drops to his knees. Underneath the blankets, wearing a coat several sizes too large, is Shannon. She's curled in fetal position, shaking so violently her teeth click together. Her lips are blue. Her eyes are half open, unfocused.
Shannon.
Tracker's voice is steady, professional, impossibly gentle.
Your brother Michael sent us.
Her eyes widen with sudden terror.
No.
The word comes out broken.
No, he can't be here. Gerald said if I came back, Michael would disappear. I stayed away. I stayed away to keep him safe.
Tracker strips off his leather jacket, wraps it around her tiny frame.
Michael's safe. He's outside right now, waiting to see you.
Gerald can't hurt either of you anymore.
But I saw...
Shannon's voice is barely a whisper.
I saw the packages, the men. Gerald said witnesses get relocated. You were right to run, and you were smart to leave clues.
Tracker lifts her carefully. She weighs nothing, all bones and fear.
But you don't have to protect Michael alone anymore.
We've got you both now. Through the trailer window, Michael sees Tracker emerge carrying a bundle wrapped in leather and blankets. His face crumples with relief so profound he can't breathe, can't move, can't do anything but watch. May's hand lands on his shoulder.
She's alive. She's alive, Michael.
Paramedics swarm Shannon the moment Tracker reaches the ambulance. They lay her on the gurney, check vitals, wrap her in thermal blankets. Her shaking continues, violent, uncontrollable. Before the ambulance doors close, Shannon's voice cuts through the chaos. "Michael? I'm here." Michael scrambles into the ambulance, drops beside the gurney, takes her ice-cold hand in both of his. "I found your message. I found help. We're okay now." Shannon's tears come fast, streaming down her frozen face. "I thought I was protecting you."
We protect each other.
Michael's voice breaks. "That's how it works. You don't get to disappear on me." The paramedic checks the monitor, his expression grave. Core temperature 94 degrees. Another night out there would have been critical. Shannon's alive, but the doctor just said another night would have been critical. Think about that. If Michael hadn't asked for help when he did, this story ends differently. If you believe more kids deserve people who'll actually show up for them, smash that like button. Because what happens next changes everything. Not just for Shannon and Michael, but for dozens of other children you haven't met yet. Stay with me. As the ambulance pulls away, sirens finally wailing, Detective Santos turns to Robert. The flashing lights paint her face in alternating red and blue. "You saved her life by acting fast." Robert watches the ambulance disappear down the road. That kid saved her by refusing to give up. The emergency room smells like antiseptic and fear dressed up as efficiency. Shannon lies on a hospital bed behind curtains thin enough to hear everything. Monitor beeps, hurried footsteps, someone crying 3 bays over. Her tiny body is buried under thermal blankets that crinkle with every shiver. An IV drips fluids into her arm. Her lips are still tinged blue. Michael sits in a chair pulled so close his knees hit the bed frame. His hand wraps around hers, carefully, like she might shatter. He hasn't let go since the ambulance. The doctor, a woman with kind eyes and efficient hands, checks Shannon's vitals and turns to Michael. She'll recover fully. Hypothermia, dehydration, malnutrition, all treatable. But another 12 to 24 hours in those conditions? She pauses, lets the weight settle. We'd be having a different conversation. Michael's grip tightens. Shannon's eyes flutter open, unfocused, searching. Michael still here? I'm not going anywhere. She drifts back under. This happens 6 times in the first hour. Each time the same question, each time the same answer. May arrives with a duffel bag, clean clothes, granola bars, juice boxes, the practical care of someone who understands crisis. Rachel, May's wife, follows with blankets that smell like lavender and books with worn spines. She drapes a quilt over Michael's shoulders, sets up a small lamp on the windowsill. Within minutes, the sterile hospital room feels almost human. In the waiting room, May sits cross-legged on a vinyl chair, Shannon's phone connected to her laptop. Her fingers move across the keyboard with surgical precision, pulling data from damaged memory. "Robert." Her voice cuts through the low murmur of the waiting room. "You need to see this." Robert crosses to her, Tracker and Detective Santos following. May turns the screen. Photos. Dozens of them. License plates photographed from Shannon's bedroom window. Faces captured in grainy nighttime shots. Packages being carried from trucks to garage. Timestamps spanning 3 weeks. "She's 9 years old," May says quietly, "and she built a case file." Tracker leans closer, recognition flickering across his face. "Those plates trace back to 3 different states." May nods. "The faces, I'm running them through databases. These are known associates of trafficking networks." Detective Santos pulls out her phone. "This is federal level. I need to call FBI." "There's more." May's expression darkens. She opens a video file. The audio plays. Muffled voices. Gerald's unmistakable baritone. Relocating the kids before they become liabilities. Can't risk another witness situation. Then Shannon's voice, small and frightened. What does relocated mean? The words hang in the air like a verdict. Late evening. The hospital conference room smells like stale coffee and bureaucratic exhaustion. FBI agent Derek Yu sits across from Detective Santos, Robert, Tracker, and May. Michael hovers near the door, still wearing Rachel's quilt like armor. Agent Yu spreads documents across the table, printouts of Shannon's photos, transcripts of her recordings, case files dating back 6 years. The evidence this child gathered is extraordinary and horrifying. He looks at Michael. Your sister documented a regional operation moving prescription opioids through 4 states. Foster children were covered, Agent Yu continues. Frequent turnovers explained by behavioral issues or runaways. No one questioned him. No one looked deeper. Robert's voice is granite. How long? Based on Detective Tracker's old case file and current evidence? At least 6 years. We're looking at dozens of children potentially affected. Michael's face goes white. Shannon and I could have been next. Gerald Monroe was arrested 2 hours ago, Agent Yu says. His network is being dismantled as we speak. Your sister's documentation gave us everything we needed. The victim interview room tries to be welcoming. Soft lighting, comfortable chairs, a box of tissues on the table. Michael sits across from Agent Yu, May beside him as advocate. Tell me about life with Gerald. Michael's voice flattens, mechanical. The rules, the threats about separation if they caused problems. The late-night meetings Shannon watched from her window. Her growing fear that something was wrong. I told her to stop looking, to stay quiet, to be invisible. His voice cracks. If I'd acted sooner, you were trying to keep your sister safe with the only tools you had, May interrupts gently. That's not failure. But she ran because I didn't protect her. Agent Yu leans forward. Your sister ran because she's brave and smart. Just like you. The evidence she gathered and your decision to ask for help, you just helped us stop people who've been hurting kids across 4 states. He pauses, lets it sink in. You didn't just protect each other. You protected children you'll never meet. Michael stares at his hands. For the first time in 3 days, something besides panic moves through his expression. Maybe, just maybe, it's the beginning of relief. Day 2. Shannon wakes properly for the first time since the rescue. Her color has returned, no longer the blue-gray of hypothermia, but the pale olive of her natural complexion. The violent shaking has stopped. Her breathing is steady, deep, the breathing of someone who might actually sleep without nightmares. Michael is asleep in the chair beside her bed, head resting on his arms against her mattress. His face is turned toward her, even in sleep standing guard. Shannon reaches out, touches his hair gently. He startles awake, disoriented for a moment before his eyes focus on her face. Hey. His voice is rough with emotion and exhaustion. You're awake. Shannon's eyes fill with tears. You came for me. Of course I came for you. Michael sits up straighter, takes her hand. Did you think I wouldn't? I thought... Her voice breaks. I thought if I stayed away, Gerald wouldn't hurt you. I thought I was keeping you safe by leaving. Michael climbs carefully onto the edge of the hospital bed, mindful of the IV line. Shannon, we keep each other safe. That's how it works. You don't protect me by disappearing. You protect me by being here. She tells him everything then. The trucks she saw from her bedroom window, the packages being moved, Gerald's voice through the thin walls talking about relocating the kids. How she recorded it all because some instinct told her evidence mattered. How she ran when she heard him planning to make them both disappear. Gerald's in jail, Michael says firmly. The biker people, the police, they arrested him. He can't hurt us anymore. Shannon searches his face, desperate to believe. Really? Really.
And May says we're not going back to foster care, not the regular kind, somewhere better. Together? The word is so small, so fragile with hope. Together. Always together. They cry together, clutching each other in the hospital bed. But this time, the tears aren't from fear. They're relief, pure and overwhelming. This right here, this moment where Shannon realizes she's actually safe, this is what the system was supposed to provide from day one. But it didn't. These bikers did. If you're tired of hearing about kids falling through the cracks, do me a favor. Share this video. Because the ending isn't just about Shannon and Michael. It's about changing how we protect all vulnerable children. Keep watching. Detective Santos briefs Robert and Tracker in the hospital corridor, voices low but urgent. Gerald Monroe faces 47 counts including drug trafficking, child endangerment, fraud, and conspiracy. She ticks them off like a grocery list. Network involved 23 people across 4 states, all arrested in coordinated raids last night. Robert crosses his arms. The evidence? Shannon's photos identified vehicles used for transport. Her videos captured faces. Her documentation of dates and times corroborate our surveillance. Santos shakes her head in something like awe. She built the case we needed. The storage facility? Tracker asks. Distribution hub. Millions of dollars in illegal pharmaceuticals. We've already had 2 other foster children come forward with information. More may follow. Tracker's jaw tightens. How long will he be gone? Federal trafficking charges? Santos's smile is cold. He'll die in prison. Hospital cafeteria. May buys Michael his first real meal in days. Burger, fries, chocolate milk. He eats mechanically, not tasting anything. Can I tell you something? Michael asks quietly. Anything. I was going to run with Shannon. He stares at his fries. I had it all planned, clothes packed, money saved, route mapped out. May listens without interrupting. I knew something was wrong at Gerald's. Shannon getting quieter, the strange cars, Gerald's mood changes. Michael's hands ball into fists. I was 3 days away from grabbing her and disappearing. But she ran first. She ran first, and I didn't know what to do. His voice cracks. I couldn't find her alone. I couldn't call police. They don't believe kids like us. So I came to you. May's hand settles on his shoulder. You did the hardest thing. You asked for help. I spent 2 years trying to handle everything alone, protecting Shannon from the system, from foster homes, from Gerald. He looks up, eyes red. I thought asking for help meant failing. Asking for help meant surviving, May says firmly. Both of you. Linda Moreno arrives that afternoon. She's an experienced CPS worker with tired eyes and a reputation for actually caring. May trusts her, which is rare. Linda assesses the situation with clinical precision. 2 traumatized children, criminal foster placement, immediate need for stable housing. The Glanpers want to take them, May explains. Rachel and I have fostering certification, spare rooms, and the club provides community support. Linda examines documentation, interviews Michael with his permission, observes Shannon sleeping peacefully for the first time in days. This is unconventional, Linda says finally. But these children need stability with people who've proven they'll act decisively. She looks at Michael, meets his eyes. I'm recommending emergency 90-day placement with May and Rachel Martinez as guardians, with the Glanpers providing housing and financial support. Michael's voice is barely audible. We can stay? Linda smiles, and it's genuine. You can stay. Day 3. Shannon is discharged with monitoring instructions and a prescription for antibiotics as a precaution. May and Rachel arrive with a duffel bag of comfortable clothes. Nothing fancy, just soft fabrics that fit properly.
Shannon chooses a purple hoodie 3 sizes too big and immediately pulls it on over her hospital gown. Michael gets a warm jacket that actually fits his shoulders, navy blue with deep pockets. The drive to May and Rachel's house takes 20 minutes through quiet suburban streets. Well-kept homes with trimmed lawns. Nothing like the trailer. Nothing like Gerald's house with its peeling paint and paranoid silence. Shannon clutches Michael's hand the entire drive, her grip tight enough to hurt. This is real? This is real. The house is modest, 3 bedrooms, pale yellow siding, a front porch with hanging baskets. Inside smells like something baking, warm and sweet. The living room has actual furniture that matches. Through the kitchen window, a backyard garden shows the last remnants of autumn vegetables. Rachel leads Shannon upstairs, Michael following close behind. She opens a door to a bedroom with afternoon sunlight streaming through clean windows. "We can paint it any color you want," Rachel says. "These are just temporary sheets until you pick ones you like." The walls are already purple, soft lavender, not the institutional beige Shannon expected. Bookshelves line one wall, empty and waiting. A desk sits under the window with a cup of colored pencils and blank paper. Real curtains frame the glass. Shannon stares, frozen in the doorway. "This is mine? This is yours." Michael's room is across the hall. Blue walls, a bed with a real mattress that doesn't sag in the middle, a desk, a closet with actual space. He unpacks his backpack slowly, laying out his meager possessions on the bed. 3 changes of clothes, worn thin from too many washes. A toothbrush. The $43 he'd stolen from Gerald, crumpled bills that now feel like evidence of something shameful. And a photo. Him and Shannon with their mother, all 3 of them smiling, the image creased from being folded and unfolded 1,000 times. Rachel appears in the doorway. "We'll get you more clothes tomorrow. And anything else you need." "I'm not used to," Michael trails off, "to having needs met." Rachel's expression softens. "You'll get used to it. Both of you." That first night, Michael lies in an actual bed, in an actual bedroom that's his. He keeps the door cracked open. Old habits, still listening for danger, for footsteps in the hall, for Shannon's breathing across the way, but the only sounds are safe ones. Rachel watching television downstairs. May reading on the couch, pages turning. The quiet hum of suburban normalcy. For the first time in 2 years, Michael lets his guard drop just slightly. Not all the way. Not yet. But enough to close his eyes. Day 4. May brings both kids to the clubhouse for an informal welcome. It's not a party, just the club members wanting to meet the children they helped save. Robert greets them at the door, his weathered face softening when he sees Shannon half hidden behind Michael's shoulder. "Welcome. Heard you 2 have been through hell." Shannon peers around Michael until Diesel crouches to her level, making herself smaller and less intimidating. "I've got a niece your age. She loves drawing. You like to draw?" Shannon nods tentatively. "There's paper and markers inside. Want to show me what you can do?" The clubhouse is less intimidating in daylight. Organized and clean, members working on bikes, conversation flowing naturally. Tracker shows Michael basic motorcycle maintenance, how to check oil, adjust chain tension. "You don't have to remember this," Tracker says, "just giving you something to do with your hands." Michael watches, absorbs, asks questions. For the first time in days, his mind isn't spinning with crisis and worst-case scenarios. Shannon draws with Diesel, creating an elaborate dragon defending a castle, wings spread wide and protective. "That's you and your brother," Diesel observes quietly. "Michael's the dragon. I'm the castle. He protects me. You protect each other." Robert finds Michael on the back deck, watching club members work on their bikes in the lot. The kid's eyes still track exits, still calculate escape routes. You keep looking at exits, Robert observes, leaning against the railing beside him. Habit. Your sister's inside laughing with Diesel. You hear that? Michael tilts his head, and yes, Shannon's giggle carries through the open door, bright and unguarded. You've been taking care of her for 2 years, since your mom died. That's a long time to carry that weight. Someone had to. And you did. Robert's voice is firm, certain. But Michael, you don't have to anymore. May and Rachel will watch out for you both. And the club, we're here too. Michael's question comes out small, scared. What if Gerald gets out? Robert's expression hardens to steel. He won't. But if somehow he did? He turns to face Michael fully. He'd have to go through all of us first. And kid, we don't lose. Monday morning, first day at new school. Shannon stands in May and Rachel's kitchen wearing her purple hoodie and new jeans that actually fit, her backpack clutched against her chest like armor. What if someone asks about Gerald? What if they know? May crouches to her level. You tell them as much or as little as you want. You don't owe anyone your story. Michael insists on walking Shannon to her classroom. He meets her teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, checks the emergency contact procedures posted on the wall, notes the locations of exits. Old protective habits die hard. Rachel gently touches his shoulder. The school knows the situation. They'll keep her safe. Michael's first day in 7th grade, quiet, watchful, sitting in the back of every classroom, calculating exits out of instinct. But at lunch, a classmate notices the Glanpers patch May sewed onto his backpack. That's a biker club, right? That's cool. First normal interaction in months. Michael almost doesn't know how to respond. Linda Moreno requires both children attend trauma therapy. Dr. Patricia Wong specializes in children who've survived the system's failures. Shannon's first session is drawing-based. She doesn't have to talk if she doesn't want to. She draws 3 houses, the trailer, Gerald's house, May and Rachel's house. Dr. Wong asks gently, "Tell me about these places." The first one is where I felt safe. The second is where I was scared. Shannon touches the third drawing carefully. The third is where I'm learning to feel safe again. Michael's first session goes differently. He sits with arms crossed, jaw set, refusing to engage. I'm fine. Shannon's the one who needs help. Dr. Wong leans back in her chair. You've been taking care of your sister for 2 years. Who's been taking care of you? Long silence. No one. That's the point. Someone had to be the adult. And now someone else can be the adult. Dr. Wong's voice is patient, kind. What would it feel like to just be 12? Michael breaks. First real cry since his mother died, ugly, gasping sobs that empty him out completely. Small victories build the foundation of safety. Shannon's first laugh at dinner when Rachel tells a terrible dad joke about dragons. Michael sleeping through the night, door still cracked but actually sleeping. Shannon making a friend at school. Emily, who also likes dragons and doesn't ask questions, Shannon isn't ready to answer. Michael joins after-school art class. Turns out he's talented at drawing. Precise lines, careful shading, an eye for detail. Weekend at the clubhouse. Shannon helps Tracker organize tools, creates a color-coded system that actually works. Kid's got a mind for organization, Tracker tells May with genuine admiration. Michael learns to change oil with Robert, gets grease all over his clothes, smiles when Robert praises his work. Small, normal moments, the kind that makes safety feel possible. You're watching 2 kids learn what normal feels like for the first time in years. But here's what's about to happen that changes everything. Not just for them, but for how the entire foster system operates in 3 states. If you've stayed this long, you're invested. Hit that subscribe button because what happens next is more than just Shannon and Michael finding home. It's about making sure other kids don't have to wait for a miracle. Let's finish this. Week 2. Mail arrives at May's house, a letter addressed to Michael and Shannon from county jail. May intercepts it immediately, calls Linda Moreno. Can he contact them? Legally, no. This violates the protection order. I'll file a violation report. May and Rachel debate that evening whether to tell the kids. Rachel's voice is firm. They deserve to know. Secrets kept for their protection are how they got hurt in the first place. That evening, May sits with both children in the living room. Gerald sent a letter. You don't have to read it. We can destroy it right now. Michael's voice is tight. What does it say? We don't know. We didn't open it. It's addressed to you both. Shannon doesn't hesitate. I don't want to read it. Michael looks at his sister, then at May. Neither do I. May takes the letter to the fireplace. Both children watch as she lights a match, touches it to the corner. The paper catches, curls, blackens. Gerald's words turn to ash. He can't reach you anymore, May says firmly. Not with words, not with anything. Shannon leans against Michael's shoulder. For once, neither of them is shaking month 3. Linda Moreno arrives for the 90-day assessment with her clipboard and practiced eye for detail. Shannon's room is fully decorated now. Purple walls covered in dragon posters, bookshelf overflowing with stories May keeps buying, a desk cluttered with colored pencils and half-finished drawings. Michael's room has art supplies organized on shelves, motorcycle magazines stacked neatly, photos from Glanper's family events taped to the walls. Both children have gained weight. Color blooms in their cheeks. Light has returned to their eyes. Linda reviews school reports. Shannon excelling in art and reading. Michael showing unexpected talent in mechanical drawing. Dr. B. Wong's report notes significant progress. Healthy attachment to guardians, reduced hypervigilance, age-appropriate behavior returning. Linda interviews the children separately. I like it here, Shannon says, sitting cross-legged on her bed. May teaches me to code. Rachel lets me help in the garden. I have my own bookshelf. Do you feel safe? Yes, and Michael smiles now. He didn't smile before. Michael's interview is harder. He sits with shoulders tense, guarded even now. It's different than anywhere we've been. They don't just provide for us. They see us. Do you want to stay? Long pause. I'm afraid to say yes. Every time I thought we found somewhere permanent, it got taken away. This time is different. Yeah. Michael exhales slowly. I'm starting to believe that. Agent U visits with trial updates. Gerald Monroe's federal prosecution moves forward with ruthless efficiency. You won't have to testify in person, Agent U explains. Video depositions are approved for minors, but your evidence is the cornerstone of the case. The ripple effects spread wider than anyone expected. 4 other former foster children have come forward. Gerald's network is completely dismantled. Policy changes in foster placement oversight are being implemented across 3 states. What you two went through mattered, Agent U says. Not just for yourselves, but for every kid who won't end up in a situation like that because systems are changing. Shannon doesn't feel like a hero. She just wanted to keep her brother safe. But some instinct told her to document what she saw, and she listened. Michael doesn't feel brave. He just refused to lose his sister. But he asked for help when it counted most. Together, they survived. Linda Moreno returns with paperwork that changes everything. The court has approved permanent guardianship. May and Rachel Martinez are now your legal guardians. Permanent? Michael repeats the word like he doesn't trust it. Permanent. Your home. Shannon doesn't understand at first. We don't have to leave? Rachel's voice is thick with emotion. You don't have to leave. This is your home, for as long as you need it. The weight of that word, home, settles over both children like a blanket. May kneels beside them. We'd like to formally adopt you both. When you're ready, no pressure, no rush, but that's what we want. Michael and Shannon exchange glances. Entire conversations happen in that look, fear and hope and the fragile beginning of trust. We'd like that, Michael says quietly. Shannon nods, tears streaming down her face. Can I call you Mom? Rachel's voice breaks. I would love that. Saturday afternoon at the clubhouse. Casual gathering, nothing formal. Shannon sits on the steps with Emily, both drawing elaborate dragons. Michael works on a motorcycle with Tracker, hands greasy, focused, peaceful. Robert grills burgers. Diesel sets up horseshoes. May and Rachel laugh about something only they understand. The club has become extended family. Tracker teaching mechanical skills, Diesel mentoring Shannon in art, Robert showing up for school conferences like he's been there all along. Shannon and Emily's drawing shows the Glampers clubhouse with all the members as dragons, wings spread wide, protecting a castle where two children stand safe. That's you and Michael? Emily asks. Yeah, and them. They're all dragons now. They all protect us. Tracker looks over their shoulders. Can I get a copy of that for the clubhouse wall? Shannon beams. Really? Really? It's perfect. Evening at May and Rachel's house. Shannon reads in her purple room, curled under blankets with a book about brave girls and dragons. Michael works on a mechanical drawing for school, pencil moving with careful precision. He keeps his door cracked. Old habit, but different now. Not listening for danger. Just listening to family sounds. Rachel doing dishes. May watching television. Shannon turning pages. Shannon appears in his doorway. Michael? Yeah? You know what? What? I'm not scared anymore. He sets down his pencil, really looks at his sister. Color in her cheeks, light in her eyes. Drawing pad under her arm, wearing pajamas with dragons on them. She looks like a 9-year-old should look. Me neither, he says. And for once, it's completely true. Shannon hugs him goodnight, returns to her room. Michael lies back on his bed, stares at the ceiling. For the first time since his mother died, he lets himself imagine tomorrow, next week, next year, not with fear, not calculating survival, just imagine. Downstairs, May checks the security system, new habit, protective. Rachel locks doors. They look in on Shannon, asleep with her book on her chest. Then Michael, still working, door cracked open. They're going to be okay, Rachel whispers. Yeah, May agrees. They are. The Glampers weren't looking to be heroes. They were just people who saw someone in need and chose to act. Michael asked for help when it mattered most. Shannon documented truth when it would have been easier to look away. Together, they survived. Together, they found home with people who chose them back. And here's the thing. There are thousands of kids right now, tonight, in situations just like Michael and Shannon's, waiting for someone to see them, waiting for someone to act. So I'm asking you to do 3 things. First, if this story moved you, subscribe to this channel. We tell stories about real people making impossible choices, about systems that fail and the humans who refuse to accept it. Second, share this video. Not for me. For the kid who needs to know that asking for help isn't weakness. For the adult who's been thinking about fostering but wasn't sure if they could make a difference. For anyone who's ever felt invisible. And third, drop a comment. Tell me, have you ever had to ask strangers for help? Have you ever been the person who showed up when no one else would? Your story matters. I want to hear it. Because sometimes all it takes is one person refusing to look away. One kid finding the courage to knock on a door. One community saying, "We've got you now." That's how the world changes. One story at a time, one choice at a time, one child at a time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next story.